Everybody smiles in the same language. A smile, let your light come shining through.
Welcome to the Celebrate Happiness Roadshow Podcast. I'm Sandra M., coming to you from Santa Fe, New Mexico, the land of enchantment. I interview people from all parts of the world about what happiness means to them. What are they in love with? In each episode, we'll give you a key to happiness to include in your life, and of course, we'll play a happy tune from my live Celebrate Happiness Roadshow.
A smile doesn't cost you anything.
Today we're talking with Todd Lowry. Todd is a pianist, an award-winning songwriter, the author of 25 keyboard instructional books, an arranger with 4,000 published arrangements, and the lead organist for the Albuquerque Isotopes baseball club. He's recorded 16 albums of original music and 6 albums of standards. He has a BA in music, a Master's of Music Education, and a law degree from a top law school. He's lived in Albuquerque, New Mexico for the past 25 years. Welcome, Todd. I'm excited to talk to you about happiness.
Well, thank you, Sandra. I'm excited to be here to talk to you about happiness.
And I know you've got some fantastic ideas because we've had some time together to do a show on happiness. It's called, as this podcast is called, the Celebrate Happiness Roadshow. And so I want to know, I'm asking you the question I ask everybody, which is, what makes you happy in your life?
That's a good question. You read my list of accomplishments or whatever, and pretty much everything had to do with music. So I would have to basically say that, certainly personal relations and friendships and things like that make me happy, but I think in my situation, it's basically music that makes me happy. I like to compose music, play, perform music, hear the end results. So I would have to say I have a special relationship with music, and that's basically what makes me happy.
Is it just the basic talent that you have? I know that you've gone to school for music, and I'm pretty sure studied a lot of different music styles. I know you perform a lot of different, a variety of styles, rock, jazz, New Orleans jazz, reggae, etc. And you even compose in those different styles. But do you feel that you were just sort of born with this gift? It was just there somehow and you just made it come alive?
Well, I think that it's probably true that people who are talented at music have some sort of inborn talent or just facility for music, just like someone who's good at sports usually has some sort of inborn facility for sports or anything else. Of course, it's really depends on the individual. It depends on everything, like what kind of education you get and all that. But yes, I do think there is a certain thing in music that people are born with. It's impossible to define how, but it seems that that's actually the case.
Fantastic. Yeah, I agree with you. I've worked with some various musicians, and it just seems to, well, let's just talk about music for a moment. Isn't it basically sound vibration? And when you just talk about the sound part of music, I know you do lyrics and also the music aspect of it, writing the music. Which do you think comes first for you? The music or the lyrics, or do they come together? How does it work?
Well, I've written maybe like 1,000 songs in my life, and every song is totally different. And famous songwriters will tell you that too. I mean, Paul McCartney or whoever will tell you. And in fact, Paul McCartney says he doesn't even know how he writes music. He doesn't really have a plan or anything. He just sits down and tries to see what happens. But for me, I would say more often than not, I would come up with the music first and write lyrics later. But it really can happen any which way. Some people come up with lyrics first, write music. Some people come up with music first, write lyrics. Sometimes it comes at the same time. You know, it really depends on the individual. I mean, there's no right or wrong way to write a song. You just have to, you know, have an idea and go with it.
Absolutely. And I just love the concept that actually writing music, performing music, because I've heard you perform, sing, play, really makes you feel joyful and happy. And I think it probably makes the audience the same way, right? In other words, do you feel that your audiences are moved in some special way by the music itself?
Well, yes, for sure. I mean, I just performed last night at a function, and people came up and said they just really enjoyed this particular song I did. So that makes me feel good. And, you know, but the other thing is, here's something people tell me all the time. They say, I just love watching you play. So that's kind of weird. Like, they're not saying they just love the music. They're saying, I love watching you play. And they say, you look so joyful. You look like you're having so much fun. You're moving around, you know. So that's an interesting thing that people would say that I love watching you play instead of I love the music, just the music. But I'll take that anytime. I mean, I love playing.
Right. And obviously the movement is just sort of comes out of the act of playing the music, right? So I just think it's so wonderful that you can give that kind of a gift to people, to audiences. And so to get back to the subject of happiness itself, I have a few questions for you. I want to know if you think that happiness is a choice, because there are people who are not very happy for whatever reasons. I don't myself believe that most of us are born unhappy. I don't think we come out of the womb unhappy. So life takes its toll, various things happen. But people who are happy, do you think they make a choice? And is it possible to make a choice to be happy?
Yeah, I think there's a choice involved. I mean, I think for people to even consider wanting to be happy, people got to be kind of lucky in a way, and they got to be at a certain level, because I mean there are people who, you know, just can't even really consider being happy because maybe they just have so much. They take so much time just to provide for their family or make sure that, you know, people in their family have everything they need. I mean, sometimes, you know, they can't even really consider their own personal happiness. I think in our society, you know, people are lucky when they can consider their own personal happiness. And I do think it's a choice. I mean, I think it's having part of it's having the right attitude to be happy. That's what I'd say.
Join Sandra M. for her live performance of the Celebrate Happiness Roadshow, a toast to love and happiness in life, an uninhibited musical adventure guaranteed to awaken your happiness vibe. Celebrate with upbeat rhythms, love songs, and fun stories, some told by you in the audience. Sandra's musical guest and accompanist, Todd Lowry, sings his hopeful and happy originals. To book Sandra M. and the Celebrate Happiness Roadshow, email sandra@sandramcknight.com. Celebrate happiness with Sandra M.
Right. The right attitude to be happy. So when you say the right attitude, Okay, I don't know what the real definition of attitude is, but I do know that the Dalai Lama talks about the fact, and I follow him on Facebook and through a lot of other areas. I've read all his books and that type of thing. And so he's talking about the fact that most people want to have a peaceful, happy life. They don't want to fight over this or that, etc. So he feels that that's sort of inborn in people, that people want to have a peaceful, happy life. Of course, you have to have your survival needs met. You have to be able to have a roof over your head and some food and that kind of thing. But when it comes to your attitude, he seems to feel, and I don't want to, bring you into some competition or some kind of discussion with the Dalai Lama, but he seems to feel that happiness is just a basic human existence, that we really do want to be peaceful and happy. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think it's basic. Like I say, sometimes people are just at the level where they're just trying to get by, just trying to live, get by. But I mean, once you reach that point where you can even think about, what is it that makes me happy? What is it that I like in my life? What is it that I want to strive for? Then it is. I think it is basic. I mean, I think everybody has that urge in them to be happy. Mm-hmm. If they have the situation where they can, really think about what makes them happy.
Right. In other words, their basic survival needs are met. Right.
Right.
So then we go into like a society such as ours, right, that is based on competition, basically. Everybody's trying to be the best or as close to the best as possible, et cetera, et cetera. At least that's what I notice, because we have individualism in our country or in our society and in many societies. And so it's not based on cooperation and kindness and compassion and being grateful for what you have. I think those things help us to just stay happy, to cooperate, to be in a sense of community. And I know that you have been with the Unity Church, or the Unity Spiritual Center, is that correct?
Yeah, I've been there for 25 years. I've been the music director and pianist. Yeah, and it's a practice that people. It's basically positive thinking in a way, but I mean it's much more than that. It's very spiritual, but and certainly I think their approach, as would be my approach, would be that happiness does have to do with cooperation, friendship, service to others, doing things for the environment, for peace, all those kind of things. At least for me, that would be the approach.
Yes, right. And so do you have any ideas about how we can help other people be happier and begin to live in a spirit of cooperation other than just going to a center? As you said, you've been there for 25 years, but just say one-on-one, helping other people to be happy, to have joy in their heart, to move forward. Is it just as simple as smiling at people? Because I know that you composed the song for our podcast, which I love. Everybody smiles in the same language, right?
Right. Yes, smiling is, that might brighten up somebody's day if you just give them a smile or a kind word or open the door for them or whatever. I mean, sometimes that just a little thing like that will go a long ways and make somebody's day possibly. I'm not a counselor or anything, but I would, if I was talking with a friend, I think I would, given my experience in life, I would know how to help them if they had some problem and they wanted to tell me about it. And, but I'm not a psychotherapist or a counselor or anything, but I mean, I think everybody really knows how to relate to somebody who has a problem, maybe help them get over it, maybe make them happy in some ways. But yes, certainly anything like a smile can go a long ways.
Right, and I know you composed that song, and so I have been learning that song, and some of the lyrics, turn your smile on, you can't go wrong, right? You'll find that love is all around.
I'll look forward to us doing that song sometime with you singing and me playing.
The lyrics, you wrote the lyrics. And I'm just thinking, you're telling people, you're giving them an action statement, really, in the song, which is, turn your smile on, you can't go wrong, love is all around, right? And you just bring love into your heart. You just bring love into your awareness by turning your smile on and opening yourself to the world. At least that's what I got out of those lyrics. When you wrote those lyrics, what were you feeling?
Well, I mean, when I write lyrics, I'm not trying to have any kind of hidden message or anything. I just write what I think is true, or I especially like to have a positive viewpoint. I mean, certainly I've written many songs that are sad or something like that, but I like to have a positive viewpoint on most things, and I somehow thought of that title, and that's where I went with that song. I mean, I've made a little reggae kind of music to back it up, because reggae always has kind of a cheerfulness to it, and at least most of the time it does. I mean, sometimes it's more political, but reggae has kind of a cheerful beat to it, sunny beat, because it's usually from a sunny climate, and that just seemed the way to go with that song. I don't, you can't think about it too much, otherwise you'll just be, thinking too hard and maybe not letting your creativity come out. But that's where I went with that song.
We invite you and yours this October 2023 for an intimate 14-day happiness journey to Bhutan, the lost kingdom of happiness. Experience the magnificent beauty, magic, and mystery of this ancient culture that calculates the gross national happiness of its people. Happiness, Bhutan style, is an adventure of a lifetime. For our itinerary, go to BhutanLostKingdomTours.com and click on Special Packages. Celebrate happiness with Sandra M.
Yes, and it's very interesting because as I'm thinking about that song, it's a simple act. Smiling is worldwide. If you just smile at anybody, even if you can't speak their language, they will open up to you for the most part. What do? They sort of understand that you are not threatening. That would be number one. If you're smiling at them. Yes. And so smiling, which is a physical act, actually, has nothing really to do with language. It's just a feeling. You're just sending a feeling out. And then you were able to capture that feeling in a song, in a rhythm, in a sound, and combine the language and the sound. I think that's really fantastic.
Well, I mean, that's what a songwriter tries to do. I mean, if there's, you try to match the music to whatever the words are and the message, and I think the whole idea is to be able to. I mean, if you play just the music, it should have kind of the same emotional or whatever effect on you as the words do, and together they're twice as effective.
Well, I just really honor your ability to do this. I mean, I just think it's fantastic. And the fact that you've written over 1,000 songs, and I do know some of the other songs that you've written that have to do with much more of a spiritual nature and a great sensitivity toward life itself. And I don't want you to have to intellectualize it or talk about it, but I do think that you understand what it means to be grateful in life. And so here's another question for you. Is being grateful in your life, your personal life, a way to maintaining and your happiness?
Yeah, I think you have to have some sort of practice of gratitude for everything that's good about the world or about your life or about your friends. I've certainly written songs of that nature. In fact, I'm currently writing a new it's pretty far along. I got 13 songs. One of them is just called Thanksgiving song, and it's not necessarily about the actual holiday of Thanksgiving, but it's about being grateful and having gratitude. So, that is in my nature to think about that and to, not forget about it. And so I do believe in gratitude and thankfulness.
Yes. I can tell from just the few songs that I have seen or have heard you perform, and that sensitivity to life itself. I do think you have that understanding when it comes to nature. I forget the name of the title of the song when you're talking about the earth and the divinity of the earth and our animals. I think it's called The Web of Life. Is that correct?
Yeah. It's called The Web of Life. So yeah, I have lots of songs in that kind of vein. And that new album I was talking about has a song called Hymn to the Earth, which is, kind of got an environmental theme without, laying it on too thick. I mean, but all those things concern me, and I appreciate you saying that. I'm sensitive to it because, that's the whole one of the things about being a songwriter. You have to be sensitive to everything. The way I approach life, in a way, is like going around and and sort of looking at everything as a songwriter, and when and you have to kind of tune into things when a message comes, like it just drops on you, like maybe the title "Everybody Smiles in the Same Language," or maybe just a style of music that you suddenly become interested in, or something like that. I think a songwriter is sensitive to everything like that, and that's one of the reasons some people can really write great songs, and it's has a lot to do with that sensitivity.
I think that if we all, this is a great way to end our conversation, but I just wanted to do a tag on it. I think if we, as human beings, could become more sensitive to everything around us and also more appreciative of it and use it in some creative way. It doesn't necessarily have to be writing a song. It could just be making dinner even, just being aware of what we're actually doing, and we're eating the food, and we're eating in community with other people. There's a lot of people who live to be very, very long, into their hundreds, and they basically say that community and connection with other people and just the simple things in life, growing food, preparing it, etc., really keep you connected to yourself and to the world, and they seem to live, into their 100 years. So I just think you're teaching people a lot with your music, and I want to thank you so much for all your insights. Is there anything else you'd like to say before we end about happiness or about anything?
Well, you just mentioned connecting with people. There's no better way to connect with people than to share your music or enjoy music together, or make music together. I mean, that's a way to connect with people. So that's what I want to do, is connect and make music.
Thank you so much, Todd, for your insights. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for being with us, and I wish you all the very best.
Well, thank you, Sandra. It's been nice to talk to you, as always. Sometimes we have some really interesting conversations.
Yes, yes.
Keys to happiness number 8. Acknowledge your unhappy moments. Even though a positive attitude is a good thing, no one is happy all the time. If you get some bad news, make a mistake, or feel like you're in a funk, don't try to pretend you're happy.
Acknowledge your unhappy feelings. Let yourself experience it for a moment, then shift your focus toward what made you feel unhappy and what it would take to recover.
Like a deep breathing exercise, a long walk outside, talking it over with someone. Let that moment pass and take care of yourself.
Thank you for tuning in to Celebrate Happiness with us. And before we go, I'd like to thank today's guest, Todd Lowry, for sharing his happiness story. Share your happiness story on the Celebrate Happiness Roadshow podcast by emailing Sandra, that's me, at sandramcknight.com.
Oh, 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 oh. Turn your smile on, you can't go wrong. You'll find that love is all.